Oh, the pale scoundrel has his charms, it cannot be denied. But, my friend, it gives me no pleasure to tell you, Astarion is not what he claims to be. Just last night, Minsc was dressing one of his many heroic wounds in camp, when Astarion stumbled upon the scene. I tell you, he grew pale as death itself. He licked his lips and trembled so violently that Minsc thought he might faint on the spot. The truth is painful, but undeniable. Astarion is a coward. How can he fight the battles to come when he grows soft at the first sight of blood? Just one moment. You are sure? And you could not have told me this before? Minsc may have been mistaken. Boo presents compelling evidence that Astarion may in fact be a vampire. Minsc has met many vampires, and never one whose smile did not hide treacherous teeth. But, as you say, this world is a strange and wondrous place. Minsc has seen the soul of an angel in a child of Baal. Once, even a kind banker. If the sun can bear to look upon Astarion's monstrous face, then so can Minsc and Boo. For now, at least.
So, we can add one bald wall of muscle to our little group. I'm sure he'll come in handy. Maybe as a doorstop.
I do not wish to speak of the wizard. I could not have said it better myself. He came to me one night with a little book of mischief, full of words and their meanings. Posterior, he says. Can you say posterior? Pwah, I refused. Minsc does not need to know the language of wizards. It is an inferior word. Far too long to use in a battle cry, which is where a butt belongs. Gale would do better to educate himself in the ways of sword and steel than to throw these pointy words at Minsc. Ah, yes. Gale also owns a cat. A cat with wings. That is most unnerving for poor Boo. Never! If he is not careful, Boo will shred his books and use them as bedding.
Minsc seems quite the, enthusiastic ally. Would all do well to remain on his good side. And out of the range of his fists.
Who is Halsin? Oh, the tiny, puny elf with leaves in his hair and dirt under his fingernails. His name is Halsin. How very unfortunate. Problem? No problem. He is so small that Minsc barely notices his existence. No, Boo! The druid did not beat Minsc at the arm wrestling. It was not a fair match, and he turned into an owlbear midway through, and there was grease on the tree stump.
Minsc has great heart. We shall need the likes of him for the trials to come.
Indeed. A berserker after my own heart. Though hers is made of hellish heat, and metal, and some manner of coin-operated device. That it does. And all of the questions that Minsc has to ask are of the pointed and painful kind. But, for all his betrayings of Karlach, Gortash never for a moment bested her. Karlach remains Karlach. Even if all her parts were traded for tin and scrap, Minsc thinks this would still be so. And soon, Karlach will still be Karlach. but Karlach will also be cured. Minsc knows he is right, because Boo is in agreement. And hamsters have no need of hope.
Minsc just joined our team. This is the best day of my life.
She hangs split between her two sides, like a flipped coin that Boo once ate while it was still in the air. But, like Boo, after a great struggle within, I think Shadowheart has finally brought that coin to Earth. She is a Sharin no more, and free of her wretched and evil fellows. Boo says it was perhaps a den of denial, rather than a den of evil. Minsc says one thing is very much like the other. Silence and secrecy grow evil just as a cellar grows mushrooms. Big, plump, stinking evil. That is why Minsc always speaks his mind. Loudly! My old friend Keldorn told me that the righteous must end their rage when the battle is done. But when Minsc thinks of those villains tormenting our gentle Moonwitch, he wants to kick them in the cloisters! Not just safe. She is among friends. Minsc is her friend. You are her friend. And, most important of all, Boo is her friend. I do not know all of those words, but it is clear that Boo likes Shadowheart best of all. A little too much, perhaps. It is good that Minsc is too reasonable to ever become jealous.
Boo seems like a worthy addition to our group. His pet, Minsc, may prove useful also.
Ah, the Great Blade of Frontiers! A fine name. Minsc has no idea what it means, but it suits young Wyll's air of mystery well. It is good to know the city did not go unprotected while I wore pigeon droppings on the wide. Jaheira did her part, of course, but she prefers to scowl from the shadows. This city needs a name, a face. Preferably a furry companion, too. Mizora. This is some manner of exotic bird? What? Wyll, the Blade of Frontiers of whom I heard, is no man to deal with devils. Boo speaks sense, as ever. There is goodness in Wyll. We have seen it. If there be a devil on his shoulder, then Minsc and Boo will sit astride the other. He will not be long in coming back to himself, I think.